This is the year designing schools went international. We went to Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Dubai, Mexico, Guatemala, and so many more places. And people are always asking us, what are other countries doing? So we're taking you along with us, sharing what we did, who we spent time with, and how other countries, schools, and businesses are thinking about what it means to live, learn, and work in a world with artificial intelligence. Whether you are visiting for the first time or you are a part of our Designing Schools community, I hope you are excited and ambitious about what is possible for you in this new year. My name is Sabba. I'm the CEO of Designing Schools, and on this channel, I help you learn the skills and mindsets that will give you a human advantage in an AI world. So hit subscribe for insights and strategies for how to be irreplaceable in a world with AI. So in this series, we are first going to head to Singapore. Now, Singapore has always been super interesting to me, not only because they have a waterfall inside their airport, but because I once heard their prime minister share, Singapore is a nation by design. He said nothing we have today is natural or is something that just happened by itself. Somebody thought about it and made it happen. And this mindset that we can think about something and have an idea for how to make something better or how to create something new is something that we should all have going into 2025. Now, you are probably already familiar with people who talk about the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. People with a fixed mindset, for example, say things like, 2025 is just another year. Who cares? What's even going to be different? Now, people with a growth mindset might say, these are the things that I'm going to work on to make 2025 my best year yet. And with AI here, there's now a new mindset. This is what we call an AI mindset. This type of person says, these are the things I want to work on in 2025, and I know I don't have to do this work alone. These people are asking, how can AI help me reach these goals, and who are the people around me that I might want to collaborate with? Now, the Prime Minister of Singapore isn't the only person who says this. Steve Jobs used to share this idea as well. He says life can be broader once you discover one simple fact. Everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. You can change it, you can influence it, you can build your own things that other people can use too. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again. So it's so special to be here in Singapore with Apple Education to talk about what it means to take a design thinking approach to AI integration. Now, in our workshops, we started by asking educators and leaders what's already working in their schools, grounding the discussion in insights from Gallup's 29 report called Creativity in Learning. While AI makes it feel like everything is new, the truth is we already know a lot about what makes great teaching and learning. The real challenge is how do we scale this creativity and innovation effectively? Now, this report shows us what forward-thinking leaders and educators have known for decades. Creativity isn't just about art, it's about being able to solve problems, think critically, and prepare for the future. And this isn't a new idea. Apple Education has been championing creativity in classrooms for over the past 40 years, really showing us the power of what it means to blend technology and imagination. And the data backs this up. Teachers who use creativity-driven approaches report over 75% of their students excel in problem solving. And when we change the task with technology, it makes it 2.5 times more likely for students to truly engage in creative projects. So the question isn't why we need creativity in learning, it's how do we scale creativity in learning? And here's how we help people connect those dots in our workshop. Okay, so after a morning at the Apple office with leaders, we're now headed to two different kinds of schools. First, we have the Singapore School of Science and Technology, which is an independent school, but still under the Ministry of Education, where basically a school specializes in a particular focus area. Now, one of the things that they have that was really amazing that we enjoyed taking a look at was something called the Change Maker Curriculum. And the goal as part of this curriculum is that students gain a really strong foundation in key academic concepts, science, technology, art, engineering, and mathematics, which makes up STEAM. And they do this through a method called applied learning. Now, the learning experiences at SST aim to produce students who are not only academically strong, but who are also thinkers, innovators, and entrepreneurs. And we will link a video where you can actually see this program in action, where the students are actually working on their own health app. So this group today is super committed. Singapore actually gets the entire month of December off, and this is the first day of their winter break, and they have decided to come and join us for this workshop.
So part one of this workshop is actually what makes our workshops different. So in traditional PDs, we might see the presenter walking through a framework or a theory, or my personal least favorite, a list of apps. But our approach is super different. We ask teachers to interview each other. Yes, no technology, like fully put it away. When we say put it away, they're always shocked because it's like, well, I thought I was at an AI PD. Don't I need my device for that? And this is where I think it's so important that we model that intentionality. When we need people to think about a problem that they want solved or an idea that they're excited to implement, but they don't quite know how. And this is where the first phase of the design thinking process comes in, the empathy phase. So they are going to interview each other using our Spark framework.
Now, because they are using Apple technology, we're going to be sharing a Pages workbook template. These are one of my absolute favorite sort of ways to organize information when you're working with Pages. There is this option in there to create an ebook, and these make for such amazing templates that you can share in workshops, you can share with your students to be able to facilitate projects. Apple even have some available for free, like this one on entrepreneurship and design. Okay, so here they are in their Pages doc, and what I also love is the choice. They can type their idea, they can use their pen and write, they can voice record, and even if you're a teacher using this with your students, you can actually even use Apple Classroom to lock the students into the app without compromising what it is they have access to, including the camera, all thanks to this little plus button over here. This is such an amazing part. You can see how engaged people are. I mean, ultimately, don't we all want our problems solved or to have the chance to see our ideas actually come to life?
Problem is, even though people say prompting isn't something that's you really have to learn, it kind of is, because it's basically your idea, your problem, your task, what you want done, and you need to be able to communicate that properly. And that's why we show the AI confidence curve, where we graph your confidence versus your knowledge of AI. And when we first hear about all the magical, life-changing things that AI can do for us effortlessly, we get super, super confident and excited. But that quickly drops off as soon as we try ChatGPT and don't get anywhere close to what we were looking for or what was promised. But when we learn more about how to actually communicate with ChatGPT and give it the correct instructions and information, we regain our confidence through practice and education. Now that the ideas are brainstormed, it's time to go in and use your Spark notes to write up your prompt in ChatGPT.
So if you haven't heard about our Spark framework, it's built really on 3 observations we had when we first started seeing how people were interacting with AI tools like ChatGPT. So number 1 is prompt the human before the machine. Now, when ChatGPT first came out, we noticed something really interesting. Most people immediately sort of jumped to asking their AI tools to do things faster. I'm doing this, create this. This is what I'm working on, do this over here. But it was rare that anyone paused to really ask themselves, is this the best question I can ask? Is this even what I really want to be doing? Can I be more ambitious with what I'm asking for? And the last thing we want to do with AI tools is automate practices that don't even serve us well in the first place. So by prompting the human first, we create space for deeper reflection, better questions, and more meaningful outcomes with how we're using our AI tools and what we are asking them to create for us. Which brings me to number 2. Change the task to unlock creativity. And this ties directly to what I mentioned earlier about the Gallup report. When we change the task, it becomes more likely that students, or anyone really, will actually engage in more creative projects. But this idea isn't new again. None of these ideas are new. Back in 2001, sociologist Paul Atwell said, "We don't have a digital divide, we have a digital use divide." He argued that our priority with technology shouldn't just be access, but really transforming the tasks we ask people to do with the technology once we give it to them. And with AI, we really have the opportunity to reshape those tasks to foster more creativity, problem solving, and deeper learning, not just for wealthy schools and higher socioeconomic individuals, but for everybody, which brings me to number 3, preserve human connection. Instead of always jumping straight to typing into ChatGPT, we really encourage teams to start by talking to each other. They discuss their situations, the barriers preventing them from moving forward, and their aspirations. Why do they care to do things differently? Then we ask them to share the results they hope to achieve, and only then do we bring in the AI tool, but not to give the answer. The last part is what we call kismet, and this is sort of like the magic of like serendipity. We ask the AI for 3 to 4 ideas, not the idea, not the answer, but a couple. This creates space for choice, inspiration, and iteration. The human is the one always driving the conversation, working collaboratively with their colleagues and their AI tools. So why does this matter? Now, not every use of your AI tools like ChatGPT needs to follow this exact process. But if we are serious about tackling more ambitious goals, getting rid of outdated practices that don't serve us, and achieving better outcomes, then we need to lean into collaboration, not just with our AI tools, but with each other as well.
After sharing their Spark results with ChatGPT, they were provided with ideas of how to get started and chose the one they liked the best. Now that they have their idea, it's time to decide who is going to do what. There are 2 parts of the equation to using AI effectively: the right instructions plus the right tasks equals the best output. AI is really good at tasks, but not holistic jobs. We're good at those. But how do we even know which tasks AI is good at? Well, we can just ask it. They shared their ideas with ChatGPT and instructed it to break it down into tasks, and then asked, which ones should I do as the human, and which ones can you help me with? This way, we remain in control and we can take action with efficiency because we're doing what we do best, and so is our AI tool. We love ending on this note because now teachers leave with an actionable plan for something they can actually implement in their classrooms as soon as tomorrow, as well as strategies they can use for any sort of challenge they face. When we ask them, when thinking about AI, I used to think, and now I think, here are some of their reflections. I thought AI was just a generic tool, but it can provide detailed and interactive content, especially in the Apple ecosystem. It's about having the right mindset to use AI as a companion to explore new approaches. I used to think AI was just for language. Now I think it supports diverse learning modes for teachers, like in Pages. I thought AI would stop critical thinking. Now I see it helps me think more critically. When it comes to AI, you don't need to get every new app or software. Teachers showed themselves how powerful the Spark framework, collaborating with each other, and the existing Apple devices they already had could completely transform their lessons. No new tech or software, just a new way to think about how we design instruction to be more meaningful.
All right, next we are going to Singapore American School. Now, I followed David Lee for so long, and we actually did this interview together back, I think, a little bit before the pandemic. His book on design thinking is absolutely incredible, and after watching his stories and videos on YouTube for so many years, it was so exciting to be able to actually come and visit his school. So here we are with about 13 international schools and 80 leaders to talk about leading with foresight. Now, people really find this experience and this particular workshop super valuable because when we have many new technologies, especially disruptive ones like AI, it's really easy to think that everything needs to change. And like with any workshop, we always begin by asking people, what is on your mind? What challenges are you dealing with? What opportunities are you working on or are you excited about that you would like to pursue? And as they're sharing, we are writing their ideas down, whether it's a whiteboard, a poster, or iPad pen. And later in the workshop, when we actually get to strategies for how leaders can use AI tools, we snap a photo or take a screenshot, depending upon where we've documented it, and actually put it right into ChatGPT to demo how it could be used during a meeting. Now, sometimes we do this by typing, but another fun way to do it is by using advanced voice mode, because dictation is a really powerful feature that many people kind of overlook and just don't think to use. And watching all these posts come in with everyone sharing their experience with what they took away, their highlights, and what they're thinking about now going into 2025, I mean, it just feels really good. I think back to the quote I shared earlier from the Prime Minister and Steve Jobs, like, no one is any different than you. We all have the ability to influence change. And at Designing Schools, it really is such a privilege, but also such a responsibility to be engaged with people in this work and to just even be in the room with people, being able to facilitate these conversations. But let me tell you what makes a workshop extra special. It's when the room feels empowered to know they can influence change as well. So one topic we always bring up, and it's going to come up a lot during this series, is to stop using the traffic light method to teach students when and how to use AI. And one person said, well, that's really nice in theory, but my middle school students, they need that. And I get it. We are always going to have the one or two students who, yes, they do something in a way that perhaps they were not supposed to do. But here's the thing. We can't design for the future using the lowest possible bar. We have to design for the highest bar and be able to scaffold experiences accordingly for different learners. All of a sudden in the room, Patrick said, what if the entire mental model for how we think about school is completely wrong? Patrick went on to say we need to break free from the traditional mental models and paradigms that are ubiquitous in our school space. Now, when I tell you the energy in the room shifted, it was magical. It was almost like his one sentence gave everyone permission to, as Steve Jobs would say, think different. Now, people often wait for permission because they have been conditioned to believe their ideas need validation. As leaders, our role isn't to give people free rein to do whatever they want. It's to empower them to act within a shared vision, guided by purpose, trust, and most importantly, our shared values and norms. Like Steve Jobs said, we don't hire smart people to tell them what to do. We hire smart people so they can tell us what to do. Our job is to create clarity in the vision and then consistently reinforce their agency to be able to make it happen. We could keep talking, but when people ask me about a workshop, I say, don't ask me, ask them. So here's David Lee and Sean Kirkwood sharing in this YouTube video some of their reflections from our time together.
And one of the big things that Dr. Sabba talked about was the idea of creating your own AI team. So she actually used ChatGPT to do this, and I thought it was kind of wild. If I could hire an AI team, I would want it to be able to do this, this, and this task so that I can then do this. So for instance, that might look like, I would like an AI team that can put together a math provocation that is achievable by students who are aged between 5 and 12. It's to do with the environment. I want to do this so that I can provide a challenging math activity for students of all ages on the same day. Then with a secondary prompt, you can basically say to the AI, tell me what it is that I need to do and tell me what it is that you're going to do in order for this outcome to arrive. What I loved about that was the sort of things that the AI will tell you is, okay, you're going to need to communicate to a team that this is happening. I will create the provocation. You need to talk to the students about what's going to happen with this. I will provide all maybe the resource material that they're going to reference for the activity. And so breaking it down into what do you do and what can it do takes away the notion that like you just put everything into the machine and then you sit back and relax and do nothing. That you still have a job, you have a purpose, and it can be a higher level purpose than just creating an essay and then submitting it and the cheating kind of path that we talked about before.
Yeah, I love it.
I think the other thing that I like about it too is there is still a job there for you to do. It's just that with using the AI, it means you can focus more on the important parts of it. So for instance, that example, contextualizing it to your circumstance, making sure that it makes sense to your community, what you're doing. But then all the things like figuring out like what resources you need, or even the provocation itself, you don't necessarily need to come up with that, and that takes a long time to do. If you can use AI to get you to where you need to be a bit quicker, that's the whole purpose of it. When we talked to Steve McGinnis, who's a marketing professional, he had mentioned that the way he uses AI is to get to wrong quicker. And I think that's another kind of headspace that we can get into, is that we can use AI to prototype a heap of different examples and ideas, work out which ones are wrong real fast, which ones are kind of right, and then develop them and massage them so that they really, contextually for our students in our community, they can fit much better than what they would if they were just out of a program or just, you know, your own thinking by yourself without consulting another resource.
I think anytime there's a job that requires projects, I think AI can help with that. And so it's not going to take over your job. You're just now using AI to help you with tasks that you had to do, but now you can allocate it to AI. And you could be more productive, right?
One of the frameworks that Dr. Sabba has actually developed herself with her team is a framework called Spark. And the idea behind it is it's helping teachers to develop a prompt that will help them provide the most efficient feedback from AI to develop really high quality teaching resources. And the way this works is it's an acronym, and so it starts out with, so Spark, the S in Spark is situation, basically describing where you're at. So like, I'm in an elementary school, I'm teaching science, whatever the standards are that you're going to use, the topics, those sort of things. The problem, so what is your problem? Like, I need to develop a provocation for the students to get engaged at the start of the semester, at the end of the semester, as a summative unit, whatever it happens to be. Your aspiration that, you know, you want your kids to have a deep engagement or conduct research, or you want them to have a hands-on activity, anything like that, what you aspire for your kids to create. And then the R in Spark is for results. What do you want to get at the end? What would you like to achieve with the students? And then K is for Kismet. And Kismet is really just the idea that these are like 3 or 4 ideas that are just maybe different and will spark some creativity and energy in the unit. And it's not something you have to put in, but that's something that the AI will provide you and help you with along the way.
Yeah, and I got to actually use the Spark GPT tool that she shared with. And my prompt was basically create a cohesive school identity that strongly integrates project-based learning, design thinking, and inquiry-based learning. And it provided a list of strategies that can help me do that at a school, so which was really cool.
We can't recommend highly enough looking into what Dr. Sabba Quidwai is doing at the moment. Her research is really easy to get involved with. It's practical and it offers you ideas for using them directly in your situation straight away.
For now, let's pack up, because in our next video, we're going to take you with us to Dubai. Can't wait to see you there. Have fun, everyone. And as always, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments, let us know, and we'll answer them in our next video.